Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you've been enjoying your summer reading. I have been. Uh, Today I wanted to talk about the book Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Now, why do I have that book next to Blade Runner with Harrison Ford? That's because the book Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is what inspired the movie Blade Runner. Now you can see why they chose the title Blade Runner instead of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. It's a weird title and somewhat unwieldy. Not that that has stopped people from having unwieldy titles in their movies. Anyway, the title Blade Runner actually comes from a different sci-fi novel about black market medical suppliers in the future. So yeah, interesting. The background for Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, the author Philip K. Dick wrote this one in 1968. So we have it's set on Earth. There was a war, nuclear war that devastated much of the planet. And what they've done is the governments of Earth, specifically the United Nations, has been encouraging people to migrate off world, and they have given them free androids to help with this. And now the androids are practically indistinguishable from humans. There are a couple things that you can do. You can do a posthumous examination that will reveal that they are not human. There's also what's called the Voight-Kampff test that measures biological and emotional responses to certain stimuli. Androids are not capable of feeling empathy. The Voight-Kampff test is there to show that they can't, feel empathy, and if they don't, then obviously that it's an android or psychopath, I think is. Anyway, so the police sometimes have to track down these rogue androids. They kill their owners. They try to escape and set up a different, better life for themselves. So the police have bounty hunters that go after these rogue androids, replicants in the movies, if you will. So that's the basic plot for both Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and Blade Runner. You can see where that comes in. There's a couple of differences between the book and the movie. One is that it is seen as a status symbol for you to actually own a living animal. Because of the mass extinctions, there's not many animals left, so you actually owning an animal is pretty important. And people will go into debt, and they'll actually try to fool their neighbors into thinking that they actually own a living animal when they just own an electric replication of an animal. They also have empathy boxes. It's a virtual reality thing where you experience the suffering of this character, Wilbur Mercer. He's constantly climbing up a hill, much like Sisyphus from the Greek myths. But instead of rolling a boulder, he's being pelted by stones. So you have this empathy box thing. You have this status symbol thing going on that's not explored in the movies. Well, we have Rick Deckard. He's the main character. One of the differences here with Rick is that while he works for the San Francisco Police Department as a bounty hunter, they're called Blade Runners in the movie. That's where that came, that's how they tie those two things together. He's assigned to retire these six androids, and they're new Nexus 6 models. They've recently escaped to Earth from Mars, and Deckard is hoping that he'll be able to get enough money from the bounties to buy a real sheep to replace their electric one, because his wife, she's feeling depressed and stuff, and so he's hoping this will cheer her up. but they're not sure whether the Voight-Kampff test can actually determine whether or not a Nexus 6 is an android or is a human. Deckard actually goes to Seattle to the manufacturer, the Rosin Association, and there he tries to test the effectiveness of the test. Now he does the test with Rachel Rosin, and initially he thinks that he's being given a false positive. And so, maybe police have been killing innocent people instead of retiring these robots or androids. They're not really robots. But he retests her and finds out that she is indeed a replicant. Or I keep using the terms from the movie. She is an android, and she ultimately admits that. The thing is that the Rosin Corporation with the Nexus 6 was trying to create something more human-like, and he ends up going to Earth. Well, he's already on Earth, excuse me. He ends up going back to San Francisco to hunt down those 6 androids that he'd been assigned. I think that's where I want to leave it. There's some more stuff in there. He gets involved with Rachel. That's there. There's more things that go on. He doesn't end up retiring all 6 of the Nexus 6 androids. They actually did a sequel to this where he goes after the other 3 that he didn't retire. It's called Blade Runner 2: The Edge of Human. That one, though, seems to follow more what went on in the movies than what went on in the books. However, there is one thing that I do want to say, that the book makes plain that is then subverted and changed in the movies. And that is that Rick Deckard is not an android in any way, shape, or form. He is a human. He's not... It's very clear. The book says no. Rick Deckard is human. Which is one of the weird things about the movie. I have no idea why they decided to... so with Blade Runner had a lot of problems with the production and stuff. And there are actually 7 different versions of the original Blade Runner movie. There's a director's cut, obviously. And anyway, and there's... They throw that into doubt that Rick is actually human, but then they confirm it later that it is, according to the movie, Rick is not in any way, shape, or form, that he is actually an android. Anyway, that aside, I did enjoy reading the book. But it is a bit odd. I shouldn't even say it's a bit odd. It's pretty odd. I mean, Rick is, for a lot of the book, obsessed with animals. And he goes to a pet store multiple times in the book to check out the sheep and stuff that they have there so that he, knows what he's getting into, and he asks questions about them and stuff, and that's kind of weird. But yeah, it was an interesting read. It was pretty good. I can't say that it's one of my favorite books or anything. I'm really not that into science fiction. I did decide to read this one because of watching the Blade Runner movie. When I watched the Blade Runner movie, and I know the Blade Runner movie is a cult classic. I found it mostly boring. I can't really say that I come down on the side of this is a classic. If they hadn't made Blade Runner 2049, I wouldn't have cared. I have seen Blade Runner 2049. But yeah, that's my take on this. Let me know if you've read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I have a friend who's accused me of bringing this book up multiple times in our conversations just because I like saying the title. And there may be some truth to that. It is a weird title. Just weird. But anyway, that being said, it was okay. It was an okay read. I recommend it. Like I said, it's not by any means one of my favorites, but it was a good read. So there you have it. Let me know what you thought of it. If you've read it, if you've seen the movie, let me know what you think of the movie, the book, etc. That's it for today. Like, share, subscribe, all that other stuff. And until next time, enjoy what you're reading.